I'm going to start by showing you a part of the main quest. So, you have to help your companions to get the station ready for scanning, okay? How do you help them? Well, let's go over here, where this guy will ask you to help him weld some panels.
Hey, you mind helping me weld up some of these panels?
You would expect to use your powerful laser that can cut and gather every mineral in the game. But no, you have to use a separate welder. And I'm going to stop you here and ask you, how do you think the game developers made this quest? Do you think you will start to actually pick up the welder and start welding the parts as a gameplay mechanic? Or will it be a cutscene where you weld the parts? Or maybe you will just pick up the item, it doesn't even have to have an animation to pick up the item, just it goes into your inventory, and then you give it to the companion that will do the job for you. Well, it's none of that. You click the welder and a text message pops up telling you that you already did the job. A text message. What the hell? Are you kidding me? A text message? Okay. Then we go to the next companion where you have to search some boxes for certain parts.
This scanning equipment needs to be installed. I could use your help.
You would think that this will be an easy design by just opening a normal box, as they have plenty of boxes in the game that you can open, and in this box it has a few components and then you just pick the correct part from multiple options. Well, no, it's going to be another text message telling you already did the job. This is the most lazy game design I have ever seen in any game ever. Not to mention this is a AAA company. Also, this game was in development for over 8 years long. You would expect at least a cutscene for doing this in a main quest. And this is not the only quest like this, I've encountered a lot of them. Then we have the dialogue, which no matter what you choose, the quest will still progress in the same manner. It's just an illusion of choice. None of the dialogue options have any impact on the progression of the quest. In my entire 182 hours of play, I've only encountered 2 quests that gave me the dialogue to choose between 2 options. Also, all of your companions only have one path, and that is the good path. You cannot go full evil in this game. Even though you have the skills that let you steal and do bad things, your companions will never take your side if you do evil things. Like I said earlier, it's the illusion of choice. It feels like a safe game made for kids at school, where the teachers will never tell you to do bad things. Then we have the grinding. Look, I love a game where you grind and build stuff, but Starfield makes even this the most unbearable garbage design I have ever seen. In order to build stuff, you need resources. In order to get resources, you can either go farm them manually or buy them. If you farm them manually, it will take you days to get enough materials just for a few weapon upgrades. Also, in order to farm them manually, you have to visit multiple planets to find the resources that you need, as there is no way to know what planet has those resources until you get there and scan the planet. You also have a third option, and that is to build outposts that can generate resources, but you need to find the planet that has the resources that you need. Also, in order to build outposts, you need more resources, so the fastest way is to buy them. Let's say you made enough credits from the quest and looting to buy multiple resources. How do you buy them? Well, you go to different vendors that sells them, but they don't sell enough materials, so you have to go and wait a certain amount of time until the vendor stock is refreshed, usually 24 hours. And this is the waiting game, in real time. Why in God's name did they make the waiting mechanic take so long? Why not have a text message telling you you have waited this long? Why do we have to wait so damn long? I mean, you have a main quest that gives you a text message instead of a cutscene or gameplay for doing a task. But when you have a waiting mechanic that logically could have been a text message, they make it into an actual timer. A very long timer. Let's go back to the money. The money in this game is called credits. And the quests do give you a few credits, but not enough if you want to max the upgrades for weapons, ships and outposts. You need to invest a lot of time to collect a lot of stuff around the world and sell them, basically looting. The same problems arise here, as the vendors where you sell the loot also has a limited amount of credits, so you have to go wait again and again and again. Also, you have a limited capacity in your inventory, which makes this entire looting even more tedious. Even if you invest into skills that increases your capacity, it's still not even close to being enough. Same with the ship. You need to upgrade and add more cargo to your ship if you want to have more space, and this also costs a lot of credits and time. Not to mention that the entire inventory UI is a complete mess. Then we got the upgrades. You would think that since you can use the materials to upgrade weapons and gear, you can also disassemble them to get the materials back, because this was an option in the previous Bethesda games, like Fallout 4 for example. But no, you cannot disassemble weapons for materials, or take upgrades from a weapon and add it to a rare weapon of the same type. You cannot do that. Then the ammunition. Since the game has a way to get raw materials and resources, you would think you can craft ammunition. But no, in no way. The only way to get ammunition is to buy it from vendors, and let me tell you, it costs a lot of credits. And you get the same problem, as there is a limited stock of ammunition on each vendor, so you have to go back to the waiting mechanic. The entire grinding system is beyond boring because of this waiting mechanic. It's tedious, time-consuming, and not fun at all. I'm really sure that they made this unfulfilling grinding so that we players spend more time logging into the game so they can show their investors or their higher-ups how long the players spent playing this garbage game. Then we have the actual exploration. In order to travel in this game, a game that is all about exploration, you will spend the entire game in the menu, clicking and then waiting in cutscenes or even black screens until you get to a destination. There is no map and there is no vehicles for traversing the planets. On every planet you find the same things. Every unknown mark is the same thing that you found on other planets. An abandoned outpost, a pirate's base, an abandoned mine, and so on. They repeat this on all the planets. They put so many mechanics in the game, but none of them work properly, and the entire game suffers because they focus more on quantity than quality. And I think the biggest problem with the game is that nothing stands out. Everything is bland and boring, especially the main story. The story that should be the selling point of this game is so mediocre to a point that it even gives you text messages instead of gameplay. The dialogue feels like it's written by an AI. There is no moment in the entire game that made me go, whoa. It's just a game with a lot of tedious mechanics that also waste your time. So, why did I play 182 hours? Because it's a Bethesda game. I was hoping to see the spark I used to see from their older games. I still think that Skyrim is one of the top greatest games out there. I remember how I used to travel throughout the world, and at every corner I encountered breathtaking scenery, ruins, or encounters that made me go, whoa, that's so cool. Everything in Skyrim was done to make you have fun, to enjoy a fantasy world that takes your breath away with how many awesome and amazing things it has to offer. There was nothing tedious about it. The dialogue had more energy, the NPCs were more unique, and the dragon fights were really that whoa moments, especially when you defeated one of those dragons and absorbed its experience. That is a memorable game. Look at Starfield. They said this is a next-gen game.
It's running great. It is a next-gen PC game. We really do push the technology, so you may need to upgrade your PC for this game, but it's got a lot of great stuff going on in it, and the fans are responding awesome.
No, it's not. It's not a next-gen game. Look at it. The main quest gives you text messages instead of gameplay or cutscenes. The entire game barely has any animations for NPCs. If you go into a town, you'll either see them walking or standing around doing nothing. There are very limited animations just for holding food and taking it to the mouth. Now look at Skyrim. All the NPCs had specific animations. They weren't just walking around doing nothing. It was a believable world. As for Starfield, the entire game has only a few cutscenes and all of them barely have any animations in them. There are mostly loading screens for when the ship takes off and lands, or when you sit down on a chair. Even Skull Island: Rise of Kong, that is considered to be the worst game of this year, 2023, still has more animations in its cutscenes. Also, I said spoilers before, but here's another late game spoiler. Still here? Okay. There are no intelligent aliens in this game. The bad guys that you are fighting at the end are still humans. Even more stupid, they are your companions from different universes. They were so lazy with the animations that they decided not to include aliens and just reuse the same animations that the normal NPCs have for the bad guys. The only aliens we see in the entire game are some brainless insects and lizards. And they just walk and attack. Those are the only animations they have. I am so done with this game. I said in my previous video about Starfield that there are some nice quests, mostly because I was in denial, but now I played enough of it to get to the conclusion that even if they improve the mechanics and fix all the bugs that it has, and it does have a lot of bugs, but I don't want to talk about them, because this is a video about the actual content that the game has. So even if they fix everything, underneath all of this is a boring and mediocre game that it feels like it's written by a corporate AI with lots of time-consuming mechanics that all it does, it wastes your time. And I will never come back to this game ever again. I am done. If you like this video, consider subscribing, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you, and I'm out.